if you make a quilt that you like, somebody else is going to like it too. So that kind of gives you a lot of freedom to just do whatever you want to do as far as making a quilt. And that's kind of what I do. I am Aya's grandmother, first of all. I live currently in Hyattsville, Maryland, and I was raised, however, in Alabama. So I was in my early 50s when I actually learned to quilt from my mother. In 2001, my mother received the National Endowment for the Arts National Heritage Award. Well, during the ceremony, they asked my mother, do any of your children know how to make quilts? And I'm sitting in the audience and I'm thinking, I've never made a quilt, and that's got to change. So after that, I asked my mom if she would teach me how to make a quilt. And she said yes. And she taught me how to quilt the Moselle Benson way.
I'm 13 years old. I'm in 8th grade. Right now, I live in Cheverly, Maryland, but I was born in Amman, Jordan. I really like drawing. I focus more on realism, but I also like cartoons and things like that. And I've done all sorts of dance. Like I've done African dance, step dance, ballet, contemporary. I've done all of that.
Aya is the 6th generation of quilters in our family. When she asked me if I would teach her to make quilts, I was just excited. I'm like, oh, she wants to learn to quilt from me.
Well, at first, I didn't actually want to do quilting. My mom just told me I had to do it because it's like a life skill. And then when I started, I actually really enjoyed it. I think it's really relaxing, and getting to work with my grandma is much better than like working with a stranger to learn how to quilt, since she has so many different techniques that she can teach me that her mother taught her, and I think that's really cool, and it's fun to work with her.
And my mother, but she's known for her improvisational style of quilting. And, you know, from an aerial view of the earth, you could see what looks like my mother's quilts. And looking at some of her quilts, I often wondered why she put that color next to that color or that piece next to that piece. And her answer was because it fit. It wasn't necessarily the color. It could have just been the shape of it. And for me, I think I'm a little more structured. And because I use the term me being Sylvia, it's because my mother told me that I didn't need to be perfect. And the quilt that's behind me, I call it Mama's Stash, because I went through her boxes and bags and closets and corners and storage spaces to find all these pieces from her stash. And anybody who is a quilter will understand the word stash. It's just fabric that you have somewhere in your possession that you can go to and draw from when you have something in mind to make a quilt. I learned that I liked blue, so we looked through my stash to see if we had something blue.
There's boxes of fabric like in her basement, in the hallways, and like even in her room, there's a whole bunch of different fabrics. There's African fabrics, there's just plain fabrics. It's crazy.
And we didn't find anything that appealed to her, so we went shopping.
My favorite color is more like a turquoise blue, but I also really like the royal blue when I saw it in the store. It just sort of spoke to me. So we kept going, and then I made a quilt, and then I made this one. And this quilt was inspired by a quilt block that I saw. It was like a log cabin design, I think. Well, first we have to like research and like draw and figure out how we're gonna design the quilt. And then we had to cut all these strips and then piece them together and sew them. I think after that, we had to sew a border at the top and put in like batting, which is like a cotton that goes in between like the front and the back to, keep you warm. And then we had to tie all these little ties onto this, to keep it together.
So rather than sewing 6 stitches per inch or 12 or 16 stitches per inch to make a quilt, my mother would tie the quilt together. Her measurement for how far apart to set those ties was a fist. When she tied her 2 knots, she started calling her knots prayer knots. And she also called them prayer knots, she said, because she would pray a lot of the times when she was making her quilts. Being Sylvia, I just figured, well, one more stitch. And so when I decided to add an extra tie, I just started calling mine Trinity knots, since it was 3 knots.
And the name is Rivers of Rainbows. And so my idea was like, this was sort of a river. And since it's like rainbow colors, that just worked, I guess. My favorite part is getting to design it first. And my least favorite is how long it takes, because this quilt took 5 months. And I know we took a break and we only meet once a week, but it was still 5 months.
Coming to quilting has allowed me to express myself in colors, in textiles, in designs, in textures, in a way that satisfies me greatly.
It's really cool that I get to like carry on like the family tradition, I guess.
Aya is a very calming and calm person. She learns fast. She takes instruction very well. She knows how to use a machine like a pro. She is very meticulous in her sewing. She's awesome. I call her awesome Aya.